to Let's Talk Diz, a show that gives you everything you need to know to help make your Disney vacation as magical as can be in just about 20 minutes. I'm your host, Jeff Coviello. With me each week is Disney Master Sandy from Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services. Sandy, how you doing tonight?
I feel like I lost 2023. It kind of flew out the window this week.
Well, we have so much news that has just recently dropped, basically for 2024. So the full disclosure that we'll give right now is that nothing is going to be taking effect right away, but there was way too much news that dropped over the last couple of days for us not to address. So take it from here. Where do you want to start? What do you want to lead with? How do you want to let the listeners know about what we're going to discuss tonight? Because there's so much information.
I'm going to lead with pack your patience. There's
fair.
A lot of great things that we're waiting for, things that you've all been looking forward to, things that we've been saying, you know what, we're post-COVID now. Let's get back to pre-COVID. And here's the teaser. A lot of it's coming.
Right.
But not until January 9th, 2024.
And that was always a weird date, right? And so we were talking about it, my wife were talking about it, and as we've said on this show before, you know, we are two runners, and my wife is a running coach, and so that January 9th date matters because there are some busy days in the beginning of January in Walt Disney World that would be kind of foolish on their part to try to kick it off before that.
They've always kind of done, this is how people carry over and end the holiday season. The start of the year has never been January 1st.
Right.
It's always been a little random in my mind where we kind of get that day.
All right, so let's talk about it, right? We're talking about January 9th is when things start to kick back. You mentioned that we're now out of the COVID pandemic, so we're looking for things to return pre-COVID. Who knows if we'll ever fully get there? Obviously, things will completely change, but what begins to change January 9th, 2024?
The big thing, I think, is, and listen carefully to my wording, please, no park reservations for date-based tickets.
What does that mean? For folks that have no idea what that means, what does that mean?
Right? Don't you love, like, I feel like you
Yes.
Definitely, we always talk about needing a degree in Disney and all the legalese.
Well, thankfully you have one, so it's good.
I do. So when you purchase what we call a standalone ticket, if you were to go on to My Disney Experience and buy your own ticket, it says, what day do you want to come and how long are you coming? That's a date-based ticket. When you book a resort package, I'm checking in March 1st and I'm getting a 5-day park hopper. It will tell you very specifically when you buy that ticket, it starts March 1st on check-in and here's the date that it expires. So if you're doing that, which Disney may tell me I'm wrong, I'm going to estimate is probably at least 70% of people out there. It's probably about 95% of our clients and our listeners.
Okay.
You're going to be good to go. You're not going to need to make a park reservation any day you want. Pass holders or annual pass holders, you're still going to need reservations except on this new good to go days. So my guess is we're going to see a lot of Tuesdays that are good to go, not a lot of Saturdays. Military members, you can buy tickets as a military service member, our salute tickets, because we appreciate military members. And those are good for an entire year. So since those are not date-based, even though they have an expiration, they're not a specific day of the year, tickets like that are still going to need park reservations. So it's going to be a limited number of people, but the majority of people, I think, are saying, I'm so glad we're past that. It means that, like Jeff's family, you no longer have to commit to where am I going on a Wednesday months from now. You can get up Wednesday and make up your mind where you want to go.
So you mentioned good to go days for pass holders. For people that don't know what that is, or maybe they're on the fence about becoming a pass holder, can you just explain that quickly so folks have an idea of what you're talking about?
Pass holders, there's different tiers, but essentially you pay a flat fee for unlimited entrances under the terms of your pass. So there are some passes that are no weekends. There are some that are almost all the days of the year and blackouts for the holidays. Again, those people don't have date-based tickets, so they will need reservations. But they're going to take the days that they know are slow, the random, like I said, random Tuesdays, and say, pass holders, go anywhere you want on this Tuesday. They did just change the pass holder requirement a couple of weeks ago, and pass holders can now enter any park after 2 p.m. without a reservation. So we're getting back to that normalcy. There was no mention of that 2 p.m. going away. That's one of the things I'd love to see go away, is to be able to park hop whenever I want, but no mention of a change for that.
That was actually my next question. So that will be the logical step that people take, right? If I don't have to make a reservation for a park, can I just go anytime? Right now, the 2 p.m. Time for park hopping still exists.
It does, but the nice thing is people who have park hoppers who, let's say, booked Epcot in the morning and were planning to hop to Hollywood Studios, right now, if you kind of had a lazy morning that you weren't planning on and it's about noon by the time you get the family together and you say, you know what, I'm just going to wait for that 2 p.m. and go right to Hollywood Studios, that's not an option right now. You have to go to whatever park you have reserved in the morning, even if you're going somewhere just after 2 p.m. So even with that hopping time staying in place, at least you still have the flexibility to go anywhere you want prior to 2 p.m. and a different spot, or your first spot anywhere you want after 2 p.m.
One of the things I know you and I have constantly talked about, especially over the last couple of years, is the Disney dining plan. We've done a lot of shows on dining in Walt Disney World, and you continually refer to things like signature dining because the dining plan was such a staple of your business and the way a lot of people vacationed. We got some news about the dining plan. What was it?
It's coming back, and we're thrilled it's coming back. It's going to have some little tweaks to it, but we've gone through a lot of little tweaks to it over the years. And I'd say we're kind of going back in time, probably 12 years. Pre-COVID, there were 4 dining plans. One that was just quick service meals. One that for the longest time was their most popular, the Disney dining plan. 1 sit-down meal, 1 fast food meal, 1 snack per person per night, plus the refillable resort mug. And then they had the deluxe dining plan. It was 3 what we called anything meals. You could do any combination of sit-down and fast food. That deluxe dining plan is not slated to come back for 2024. And they had added this in-between plan that we loved that was actually 2 anything meals and a snack. And that was the Disney Dining Plan Plus. That also is not scheduled to come back. I think we're just going for let's make it easy. So we've got 2 plans. We don't have all the details on them. We most certainly don't have pricing yet. They were very clear that we will not have pricing until it goes on sale at the end of the month. But we have in the past seen them add dining plans during the year. So there's always a chance, if there's enough requests for it, we could see one of those other 2 plans come back. But for now, we're going to start with 2, and I'm going to go with beggars can't be choosers. We're happy to have something. It's so convenient for me to know what a vacation costs up front, to not get all of those mystery costs. You know, I love that the character meals are included for people, and you can really plan ahead and have a better handle on the cost of your trip.
Very cool. And it offers us the chance to talk about dining more frequently, which we love to do on this show. Let's be fair.
That is so true.
All right. Any other updates that we've got? Because I know that covers a lot of the big ones. What else did we hear that is worth discussing?
Well, we've got a lot of non-discussing. We've got a big tease out there for you all.
Mm-hmm.
And that is that they are acknowledging that they are hearing all of us and all of you, that something is lacking in the vacation experience if I am getting up every morning and have to be online like a crazy person at 6:59 to buy my Genie and my individual lightning lanes, and to, if I kind of get off track, for some people, it is a make or break. For those of us that are here often, generally we work around it, but we're also much more familiar with the app. It's much easier for us.
Sure.
They're acknowledging that change is coming. The sentence that we were given is, we want to give guests the opportunity to spend less time planning in the parks and more time enjoying their visit with friends and family.
It's literally like I wrote the statement for Bob Iger to read. That's literally something that I've been saying for 4 years.
There you go. Yeah. So now we know what you've been up to in your spare time.
Yes, Mr. Iger and I are tight. We share cardigans back and forth. It's a good time.
So again, it's a big tease. They're acknowledging it, which again, definitely a first step. I can't wait to see what it is. And hopefully not only is it less time planning in the park, but I'd like to see it be a little bit less complicated.
Well, we've done a million shows on it, and you do webinars on it. Anytime a travel specialist has to do a webinar on a feature within your vacation, it's probably too complicated. I mean, let's just call a spade, right? It's not that you're not doing a great job to educate your clients. It's the fact that you have to do that. It's overwhelming for people.
It is. And like I said, I think the tough thing is, once you're here by day 2, people say to me, I was dreading that part, but I really got the hang of it quickly. You do get the hang of it quickly, but you shouldn't be dreading any part of your vacation.
100%. Okay. What other stuff is changing, is in the air of change?
We're seeing a change that's going to kind of be on the sidelines right now and fully in effect in 2024. As an agency, I always tell my team, we have a policy that we don't allow clients to put in any room requests for something that they can pay for. And when I started in this industry, it was very straightforward. You booked a room at the Polynesian. You either had a standard room or a club level room. You booked a room at the Contemporary, same thing. You had a standard room and a club level room. And people would fax in requests. They would get to the lobby and they would say, could my room view the Magic Kingdom? Could my room see fireworks? Could I see water instead of parking lot? And people would make all these requests. And I used to say, you could tell where the requests were coming, because at a certain point, when they got too many requests, it became a bookable category. If you want to see the Magic Kingdom, you paid for it. And then we started getting really into the minutia, where someplace like the Polynesian had water view that was different than pool view, that was different than marina view. It's a lot.
I like the people that say, I need room 5248. That's what I definitely need. Like there are people that are listening to the show right now shaking their head saying, yes, I do. I mean, that's just a reality.
We have a couple of those. I beg you all to not be one of those people. And I'll tell you why. When you say I need room 5234, if it's just because you loved the view from there, then they don't know what to do with you when 5234 isn't available. Right. They don't know if you liked the floor that it was on, the distance from the elevator, what the view out the window was. There's nothing for them to go on. So I always say, if you feel that you absolutely must make a room request because it's going to be the make or break to your vacation, tell them what you want without a room number. Near the elevator, far from the elevator, high floor, low floor, any of those things. And the less requests you have, the more likely you are to get it, and put your requests in order.
So what changed though, Sandy? Because you're talking about these categories. Like, what about the room categories changed?
So for the deluxe resorts only, they're going with resort view, water view, and theme park view.
Okay.
With a couple of exceptions. For instance, Savannah View is very unique and will still exist at Animal Kingdom Lodge. But for example, some of the deluxe resorts had standard view, garden view, and woods view. Those are all now going to be a resort view.
Got it. So
Just
they're combining large, like multiple categories into one larger bin,
they're trying
so
to
to speak.
simplify it. That'll help everybody with getting rooms ready earlier. If you are booked for 2023 in one of those categories, and 3 months from now you go on the website and that category is gone, you are still guaranteed that category through the end of 2023.
Got it.
As long as you don't modify your reservation. They are honoring those categories, but going forward, they will be unavailable to book in that little bits of detail.
Got it. Okay. Anything else that changed?
Not change, but one of the things obviously that happens every year around this time that we get asked is, when can we start booking packages for next year?
Right. Great question. I mean, it feels like it might be the time soon. So for folks that are long-term planning, like they want to know.
It is May 31st of this year, and it always falls somewhere in May, early June. You'll be able to book all of 2024. They do things up to 500 days in advance. So you might hear me saying 2024 wasn't bookable yet, but your friend swears that they have a reservation for January 2024. They can. They have what we call a room-only reservation that doesn't even guarantee their rate, but they don't have tickets or anything else with it. So that May date is really when we're going to begin things. And as I said, that's when we're going to have some more details for you on the dining plan. Probably unusual for me to say, I hope that we don't find ourselves having to do another episode that first week in June to explain all the dining plan changes. I'm thinking it's really not going to be that complicated. It's going to be things that we're used to and things that are straightforward. But the big question obviously remains is, what is the cost? And that we're going to have to sit tight and wait and see.
Well, I do thank you for taking the time this week to break down the information. I have to be honest with you. It was one of these weeks that I came home from work and my wife and I smiled at each other because there are some things that we're happy to hear are coming back to Walt Disney World. And I'm sure there are plenty of listeners that shared those smiles. Thanks for breaking it down for us. Have a great week.
It is my pleasure. And I too am thrilled to see the return to what we always knew as normalcy.
And that's a wrap this week on Let's Talk Diz. If anyone you know could benefit from this or any show, please share, have them like, and subscribe. And don't forget to reach out to the folks at Easy Diz by Instant Impressions Travel Services for any Disney destination planning. Make it a great week. And as always, keep making memories.